Hey Jesse, how are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for showing up to the Business Corner.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you. So tell our listening audience a little bit about Bid4Assets and what separates it from its competitors.
So, Bid4Assets was the first online auction site to conduct a public auction for the government entirely over the internet back in the year 2000. And if you think about where things were at, 24 years ago, internet was gaining a lot of popularity. eBay was kind of expanding and selling Beanie Babies and collectibles and all sorts of things. And the federal government decided that they were going to take these asset forfeiture sales they were doing, a lot of cases that involved, restitution for victims, and try and improve them by taking them online. And, 24 years ago, when people heard that, their heads exploded. The government's going to run auctions over the internet. That sounds crazy. And of course, what once was unusual over time sort of becomes the norm. I took over as I joined the company in '04 and took over as president in 2014. And we did a number of different things at that time. We're doing federal sales and county sales and personal property. I asked myself the question, what do we really do better than anyone else in the space?
Mm-hmm.
And what we really do best is helping county government to conduct real estate sales like foreclosures and tax foreclosures. So we really focused our efforts over the last 10 years on doing those sort of sales for county government. Now, you asked an interesting question. What separates us from other companies? Who's really our competition in the space?
Mm-hmm.
I was watching some of your earlier podcast episodes, and you had a gentleman who owns and operates a number of grocery chains, supermarkets. And so, if you were to ask him who's your competitor, it would probably be other supermarkets.
Right.
Our business is a little bit different. If you take the last 3 contracts that we recently signed to bring sheriffs online to do their foreclosure auctions on our platform, they were just doing them out on the courthouse steps themselves. We're not displacing some other vendor who looks like us.
Right.
So what we're really competing with is the kind of government thinking outside the box and taking a process that's gone unchanged for, in some cases, hundreds of years and saying, I'm going to use this new technology. I'm going to look at if this is a better way to serve our constituents, and I'm going to try something that hasn't been done before in our county.
Well, it seems like this is a model that has been working. So explain, or maybe give us a snapshot of how this business model actually works.
So we take the sales that used to occur live and we conduct them virtually on our platform. The county would have a landing page, individual auctions for each property. We typically take a fee on a per parcel basis for conducting these sales and provide some other services like marketing and funds management. There's really kind of 3 areas of benefits that lead counties to decide to try out this virtual format. And so, first of all, sales always improve when counties go online because whoever was participating will keep participating. Plus, we have 900,000 bidders. Plus, we do marketing in the local community.
Wow.
So you're always expanding the reach, and that helps a lot of different people relating to these sales. It helps people losing their property who get to keep the excess proceeds. It helps minimize kind of these blighted vacant properties in the local community. It helps lenders not have to buy the property as REO and get to use their money to make loans to homeowners and business owners in the community rather than have to own vacant real estate. The second benefit, it's a lot more convenient. It's more convenient for the county to conduct these sales. It's more convenient for bidders who need to attend these sales. And so if you think about people who don't do this professionally, who might just be interested in buying a rental property, it can take hours to go, park for the auction, attend the auction, register, wait for the property announcements. Now it only takes minutes if you want to just go in and participate in one auction. So there's a convenience factor for all the parties involved, and there are other benefits. It's certainly greener to have online auction than to get everyone to go down to the auction
Right.
every week, every month. It combats collusion. There have been a lot of altercations that break out at these auctions, either between bidders or hostility towards the county staff.
Yeah.
It just eliminates a lot of those sort of issues, and it doesn't cost the county anything to conduct this.
So let's think about Bid4Assets broadly and its work across the country. What has the data shown, and what are some of your clients saying about your work?
So there's a lot of data to suggest that the sales improve. And, we talked a little about that, some of the social impact that has. And so one of the Pennsylvania counties that we worked with for several years decided to do an internal study and see what's the real social impact since they decided to go online. And so they looked at the last 2 years of live auctions versus their first 2 years of online auctions with Bid4Assets. And what they found was that they went from selling about 10% of their property third party at their foreclosure auctions live to about 50% online. And so what that means is 90% of the property used to go to the bank and be vacant. Now it's only about 50%. So we really helped to cut the volume of REO by about half in that county within 90 days. They also looked at what's the impact on people who are losing their homes. And again, most property that's scheduled to go to foreclosure auction gets pulled out before it does. Bank has all sorts of programs to work it out with people. But if they're unable to get their property out of the auction, the last sort of line of defense, the last thing they can hope for, let it be a good auction that sells for more than the amount necessary to satisfy their debt, because they get to keep that money. And if they're at risk of being homeless, now at least they're going to get a check that they can go put towards new housing. And so this county looked at what's the impact of people losing their property, being able to keep some of the equity in their home. What they found was the impact of going online meant people were 420% more likely to get to keep some equity in their home. And on average, it was $48,000 more. So I think that's kind of the social impact that people who talk about these sales in the media sometimes don't understand. It's so important to maximize the bidding to help people in a bad situation. Now, there have been some who sometimes criticize these sales and say, okay, well, the sales are going up, but we think if it goes online, that means you're going to invite people from all around the world, and you're going to have this sort of destabilizing effect. And so we're obviously recording in Philadelphia right now, and Philadelphia Sheriff's Office is a client of ours. And when the sheriff made the decision in 2021 to take these sales online, there were a few city council members who predicted when these sales go online, you'll see an increase in sort of out of city, out of state participation. Philadelphia Inquirer did a study after these sales had been going on a while. They pulled deeds, they crunched the numbers to see, were these concerns accurate? Did the data actually bear this out? And so what they found was that counter to what was predicted, in city, Philadelphia residents, the percentage of Philadelphia residents buying these properties went up, not down. The percentage of Pennsylvanians buying these properties at these sales went up, not down. The percentage of people in Pennsylvania and nearby states went up, not down. And so what I think gets lost in translation sometimes is that once these sales are online, what a company like ours does is we'll run local marketing in the community. So in Philadelphia, we work with the newspapers, the radio station, direct mail, web advertising. We're not trying to bring Texans and Californians in to buy Philadelphia property. We're trying to bring in more Philadelphians who either don't know about these sales or don't realize, now I don't have to kill half the business day to attend this. I can take a bathroom break and go log my bids on my smartphone and get back to work. And so what we're really focused on doing is trying to help these counties increase their sales, keep the buyers local, and have this be a stabilizing, not a destabilizing effect on the communities. And as a result, the clients we have love us. We have uh, have very close to 100% retention.
Good.
Counties who come online do not want to go back to running live
I
auctions.
mean, it sounds like inclusivity is a part of that major model structure, right? I see local business owners and family members, taking the time. Those are at work, taking the time, bidding, right, for maybe a property next door or maybe a lot next door to expand their livelihood. And I think you guys give them the technological and the digital age, really bridging that gap so they can actually participate. Love that. So, what does the future of Bid for Assets look like? Probably in the next 3 to 5 years.
So, COVID was kind of an interesting time in expanding the thinking for what we do. I talked earlier about uh, there was a lot of maybe people in county government that we've spoken with over the years that have said, I see some benefits. I don't know that I'm motivated enough to try it. And then all of a sudden, in 2020, the world shut down. Gathering at the courthouse was a public health hazard, and a lot of counties that were maybe on the cusp of trying this decided, well, now's kind of the time to try it. And so a lot of states started going online, and a lot of others started exploring going online. So, in 2022, Oklahoma passed a law allowing for virtual foreclosure auctions. In 23, Louisiana did. This year, New Jersey is trying to pass a bill
Mm.
opening that up. South Carolina and Georgia have pending bills to legalize virtual tax sales. So we're kind of at the forefront of this inflection point where I think county government is coming to embrace the technology and the benefits of online auctions a lot more. And so we're supporting these states in passing this legislation and working with those kind of early adopter counties who are saying, we're willing to be the ones to kind of lead here and show others that this technology works. It produces benefits for our constituents, and start doing some more sales over the coming years.
I love that. So, Jesse, what advice would you give someone who wanted to be a president of an organization such as Bid for Assets?
So first, of course, you have to have the sort of mandatory skill set, and you generally are going to do that through a combination of education and work experience, which was how I did it. Now, I'm coming up on my 20-year anniversary at Bid for Assets. Thank you
Congratulations.
very much. And so I learned from people I worked with every day who taught me sort of the ins and outs of the business for what they did in their various disciplines. And I did a part-time MBA while I was working there, and that taught me how to read financial statements and all the sort of necessary skills you would need to have to run an organization. There are two other things that I look for when I hire executives. And so, first is integrity.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, character of your executives is so important. We've seen so many cases, Enron, FTX, Theranos, of companies where one or two really bad actors at the top can derail even a large organization. So
Hmm.
make sure you're surrounding yourself with people with a strong moral compass.
Yeah.
The other thing I look for is passion. Uh, are these people who genuinely have an interest and sort of an intellectual curiosity about what we do? Uh, I, you know, for me personally, I find what we do fascinating.
Yeah.
When I joined the company 20 years ago, I started attending auctions, reading industry publications, and trying to learn, everything I can about what we do. And I have some employees who I think are really passionate about what we do and have been with me for a long time. So, try and put together a team of people who, have the necessary skill sets, have a real interest and curiosity in what we do, are of good character. Long term, you should be pretty successful. And I attribute that to kind of my 20-year success at Bid4Assets.
I love that. I love the integrity, the moral compass. And I think that is the advice that we should be giving everyone that is looking to join